Hi guys, and welcome back to the Sun Devil Learning Labs. This is Mrs. Lopez and I'll be teaching you again today. If you've seen previous videos and have been returning to the Sun Devil Learning Labs, welcome back. And if you're new to the Sun Devil Learning Labs, then welcome. Catch up on some of our previous videos so you get a better understanding of different math concepts that we've already gone through this summer. Let me start sharing my screen so we can get started. Okay, so today we're going to be going over substitution and evaluating expressions. Again, we're going to have our agenda, so you should be able to have your materials already. If you haven't, then grab your paper and pencil now so we can get started. So pause the video for 2 minutes if you haven't gotten your materials. Okay. So now that you have your materials, we're going to go over our joke of the day today. So our joke of the day is, why can't a nose be 12 inches long? If you said because it would be a foot, then you're right. And our objective is, I can evaluate an expression with one or more variables. I want you to repeat the objective after me and then we'll get started. I can evaluate an expression with one or more variables. Okay, let's go with our vocabulary. If you've seen our previous video, you may have already seen these vocabulary terms, but we're going to go over them again today. So variable is a symbol that represents a number we do not know yet. This can be seen as X, Y, and Z most of the time, but it could also be other letters that you have already placed for as a variable. So it could be H for hours, T for traffic. It just depends on what you want to represent a number that we do not know yet. A term is, each expression is made up of terms. So if we look at this expression here, we have 4x, 7, and 5. Those are our terms of this expression. Then we have factors. A factor is one part of a product. And a product is where a number is multiplied by another number or variable, and these are our factors. 4x, the factors of that are 4 and x, because those two are being multiplied by each other. We have our coefficients. This is a number being used to multiply by a variable. So right here we have our coefficient 4 and our variable x. And then we have operator. This is a symbol such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and this shows the operation of the expression. So in this example, the operator is subtraction. We do have more vocabulary as well. If you've seen a previous video on the order of operations, then you may have already seen this already, but this is PEMDAS. This stands for, the P stands for parentheses, so that means you do everything inside the parentheses first. The E stands for exponents, so after the parentheses, you're going to do your exponents like x squared or x cubed, and etc. Then our M and our D stand for multiplication and division. So after you do everything in the parentheses, you do your exponents, then you can multiply and divide. And this is from left to right. And A and S stand for addition and subtraction. You're going to do that after you multiply and divide, but you're also going to do this from left to right. So if subtraction is first, then you're going to do subtraction, and then you're going to do addition. But we'll go into this further into the lesson while we solve our expressions. So PEMDAS. This also can be a catchy phrase to help you remember the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P is parentheses, E is exponents, M and D are multiplication and division, and A and S are addition and subtraction. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally will help you make sure that you are answering your expressions in the correct order that they're supposed to be done by. Make sure that you're doing them the correct order so that you know that you are solving your equation correctly. So Before we get started, I want you to simplify these expressions when n equals 4. So pause the video for 3 minutes and I want you to simplify these expressions. If you need longer than 3 minutes, then you can pause the video longer. Okay, welcome back. So now that we've simplified these expressions, we should have done something like this. We should have inputted the n where the n is, and we put 4. So I did 4 plus 12, 12 minus 4, 12 times 4, 12 divided by 4 plus 3. And these should have been our answers. 16, 8, 48, and 6. Okay. So now the steps to solving an expression. You want to rewrite the expression. Once you see it, I want you to rewrite it. So we have the expression, and I want you to evaluate 3 times x plus 4 if x equals 4. So our first step is to rewrite the expression. So my expression right here is 3x plus 4. That's going to be my expression. I'm rewriting it. 3x plus 4. So our second step is wherever you see the variable, substitute the given value inside of parentheses. So we have our expression 3x plus 4. We know that x equals 4 because in the previous slide, that's what it told us, x equals 4. So now we're going to substitute the given value inside parentheses. Make sure that you are putting inside parentheses because if you put 3, 4, it looks like 34 and not 3 times 4. So it should look something like this. The parentheses are showing you that you're multiplying 3 times 4 plus 4. If you don't have the parentheses in there, it's going to look like 34 plus 4 and you're going to get the wrong answer. Step 3 is evaluate the expression following the order of operations. So this is our expression. We have 3x plus 4. We substituted the x with the 4, and so that's 3 times 4 plus 4. And then we're doing our order of operations. We are doing, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we have parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parentheses but the 4. So we're going to skip the parentheses. We don't have any exponents, but we do have multiplication. So 3 times 4 is 12, so that's our first step in our expression. Do we have any other multiplication or division in this expression? No, so we stop there. So then we're going to do our next level. We don't have any parentheses. We don't have any exponents. We don't have any multiplication or division. We have addition. Do we have anything else other than addition? No, so we're going to add these two together, and we should have gotten 16. Okay, so now our next part is I want you to solve this expression. I'm going to do it, and then we're going to do a we do and a you do. So I'm going to evaluate 2x plus 8 if x equals 8. So what does the 2x mean? It means twice some number x. So that means we're multiplying x, or whatever that number is standing for, times 2. And what is 2 called? The coefficient. So our first step is to rewrite the expression. So we rewrote it as 2x plus 8, and we know that x equals 8. So wherever you see x, I want you to replace it or substitute it with 8 in parentheses. This is very important. Again, parentheses are very important when you're substituting numbers for variables. If you put 8 by itself with no parentheses, it's going to look like 28 plus 8, and that is going to give you the wrong answer. Make sure that you are substituting when you are putting variables in, you're substituting the variable with parentheses that the variable stands for. So in this point, the variable is x, and it stands for 8, and that 8 needs to be put in parentheses. So we rewrote the expression 2x plus 8. We're going to substitute x with 8 in parentheses. we're going to use our order of operations and solve this problem correctly. And then we have 16 plus 8 is 24. Okay, so now what we do, we're going to solve the expression. We're going to evaluate 3 times n squared minus 4 plus 2 squared. So first, we're going to rewrite the expression, and then we're going to substitute 3 in every place we see an n. So pause the video. I want you to rewrite the expression and substitute the 3 in every place we see an n. And I want you to make sure that the 3 is in parentheses. Pause the video for 5 minutes. Okay, so now that we're back, and we've rewritten the expression and we substituted 3 in every place we see an n. So we rewrote the expression and we replaced 3. As you see, 3 is in parentheses right here. So we know that we're multiplying 3 times 3 squared minus 4 plus 2 squared. So now we have rewritten it. We're going to solve it now. We're going to do our order of operations. So we see parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parentheses but a number. So we're not going to do anything with that. Now we see exponents. We see 3 squared and we see 2 squared. Even though this is 3 times 3, the 3 is in the parentheses, so that should be squared before we multiply these numbers together. So that is our next step. We're going to do our exponents. 3 squared is 9 and 2 squared is 4. Now that we've done our exponents, we need to look and see if we have multiplication or division. We do have multiplication and we only have 3 times 9, so we're going to do that first. And that's going to give us 27. And then we have our addition and subtraction, whichever comes first from left to the right. We see that we have subtraction first, so we're going to do that first. That's going to give us 23, because 27 minus 4 is 23. And we're going to add 4 to that, so we're going to end up again with 27. So 27 is our answer. So now it's a you-do. Solve 4x minus 2 plus x if x equals 8. So pause the video now for 5 to 10 minutes, and I want you to solve the expression and make sure that you're doing your steps in order. Rewrite your expression, input or substitute x where for the number that it is supposed to be, 8, for everywhere you see the variable x, and then solve using your order of operations. So pause the video for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so now that you're back, you should have already rewritten your expression. You should have substituted x where you see x and solved using your order of operations. So first, rewrite the expression and substitute an 8 for everywhere you see the x. So I rewrote it and I substituted it. So 4 times 8 minus 2 plus 8 is what I should have gotten as my expression. So we rewrote it, and now we're going to use our order of operations to solve. So we have parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parentheses but the 8, so we're not going to do anything about that. Then we have our exponents. We don't see any exponents, so we're going to skip that step as well. And then our next step is multiplication and division. I don't see any division, but I do see multiplication, so 4 times 8 is 32. And then we're going to rewrite the expression again. 32 minus 2 plus 8. And then we're going to do our addition and subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. So 32 minus 2 is 30 plus 8. And then we're going to do our addition. So 30 plus 8 is 38, and that is our answer. So I want you to try a couple more problems on your own. So pause the video for 5 to 10 minutes to answer these problems, and then we'll come back and I'll go over the answers. Okay, so now that you've already solved these problems on your own, these are the answers that you should have gotten. Solve 5x minus 9 if x equals 8, so you should have gotten 31. If y equals 5, then what is 7 plus 2y squared? You should have gotten 57. For x equals 4, simplify 2x plus 6 minus 3 in parentheses squared. You should have gotten 15. And then for a equals 40, simplify 2 times a divided by 5. You should have gotten 16. So you have some games and futuristic math so you can practice and get more familiar with substituting variables, and so you can evaluate them and solve the expressions. So our objective was I can evaluate an expression with one or more variables, and you have done that. You've done that in the previous, and you could practice with some of these games. I hope you guys had a good lesson with me today, and I hope you go and practice. You can get those practice links in your learning guides, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.